The online sports betting market has absolutely exploded over the past few years, and that growth is only going to accelerate over the next decade. And by 2024, that sports betting market is estimated to be worth around $155 billion. And in this video today, we're going to go over the newest company that's going to hit the public markets in the first quarter of 2021 through a merger with a SPAC. And this company has some huge growth potential. They operate within that fast-growing sports betting industry, and they act as a middleman to lead business to some of the largest, well-known sports betting websites in the world. So in this video today, we're going to go over this latest SPAC, the huge potential for this stock to double, triple, or even 10x your investment, and we're going to take a look at this company, Genius Sports, go over their investor presentation to determine if we like this SPAC and if we believe it can hit all of their future targets down the road. Genius Sports is a company that acquires data from live sporting events and supplies that data to some of the world's largest sports betting platforms. And they just agreed to go public through a SPAC deal with DMYD Technology Group, and this deal is estimated to be worth $1.5 billion and will close in the first quarter of 2021. So DMYD is the ticker you're going to have to buy in today if you want to get Genius Sports before the merger is closed. And you can see they currently trade right now in that $13 range, and shares were actually flat at around $11, but once the announcement was made, we have seen shares grow 20%. So overall, a very interesting company, and in this video, we're going to break down their future growth expectations, explain what this company really does to generate revenue, and the future outlook for their business many years down the road. And if you're new to the channel, I am the Gen Z investor, and every single day we talk about the stock market, we go over different stocks you can buy and sell, and discuss any stock market major news or headlines. Please hit the like button, subscribe for daily videos about the market, and then we're going to jump right in to Genius Sports and break down how this company works and what we think they're going to do over the next few years. So Genius Sports is a data acquisition company. That's the simplest way to put it. They take data from some of the largest sports organizations in the world in their live events and games, and they pass that data over to the sports gambling websites. And this picture accurately depicts what the company does. They acquire official rights from different sports leagues all around the world for their data. They put their Genius technology into play, and what they do is they sell and pass on that data to the largest online sports books. And of course, as sports gambling has growing in demand, there's going to be increased demand from these sports books for greater data, and that comes right from Genius Sports because they have those official rights. And usually with these sports organizations, these are low churn and sticky organizations and sticky relationships because these companies like the NBA, FIFA, they don't want to have to find new companies to supply their data to each and every year. These are usually longer term deals that really don't get broken, and there isn't a lot of churn in that industry whatsoever. So Genius Sports is essentially the middleman to take the data from the live sporting events and pass those directly on to the world's largest sports book. So as sports resume in 2021, people are going to be more interested than ever because of the lack of sports in 2020. And as online sports gambling continues to grow, that is only going to increase the demand for data and new different types of data and technology, which is only going to increase the demand for Genius Sports. And you can see they are right in the center of a growing industry, leading to long-term future potential outlook. So if we take a look at Genius Sports, they have around $190 million of 2021 forecasted revenue. Their revenue has been growing at 29% CAGR, and overall, they've hosted more than 240,000 sporting events. They have 170,000 events under official rights and over 110,000 events under exclusive rights. And they're ranked the #1 sports data rights owner. So they are the market leader in this industry that I believe is only going to continue to grow. And they have huge, huge partnerships. You can see right here some of the largest sports organizations in the world are partnered with Genius, such as the NBA, NCAA, PGA Tour, FIFA, and some of the world's largest soccer leagues, the English Premier League, Bundesliga, and Serie A. So you can see this company generates 11% of their revenue from these major sports brands, but these are some of the most popular and most dominant brands all across the globe. And you can see they're nicely diversified between the largest sports organizations in the United States and the largest sports organizations in Europe as well. And of course, the data and streaming partners make up 74% of their revenue. And if you take a look at the first one they have listed, DraftKings, one of their major partners, and this company has absolutely exploded this year. Their share price for DraftKings is up more than 385%. So you can see this company that is one of the major partners with Genius is on a tear. And you can see DraftKings is one of the leading operators in the sports gambling websites within the United States. If their performance has been like this, the data company that they acquire their data from is really only expected to perform similar to the overall industry. And some of the other major companies that they supply data to, such as FanDuel and Bet365. And media, such as Caesars Palace, also makes up a small portion, around 15% of their overall revenue. Over the past 5 years, Genius has done an incredible job of growing the amount of sports games they are covering. Back in 2014, they only covered 1,000 games. But you can see year after year, they are setting record highs, and from 2019 to close out 2020, they're expecting a jump to 240,000 events covered. And take into consideration that in 2020, there were months and months where no sports were going on. So the fact that they have seen such a significant bump up, close to a 100% growth rate in 2020, even though for months out of this year there were no sports, is absolutely incredible. And of these 240,000 events they plan to cover to close out this calendar year, over 110,000 of them are exclusive to Genius. So I think this company is doing a great job of growing, and to be a data leader, you have to be able to acquire that data from as many different games as possible, and this company has proven over the past 5-6 years that they can grow that each and every year over a longer term span. And if we take a look at their position moving forward, right now in 2020, the overall market is estimated to be around 31 billion. But you can see they expect massive growth rate down the road. In 5 years down the line, they expect the overall market to almost have doubled to around 59 billion. They expect 31% CAGR in the United States, 11% CAGR in Europe, 13% CAGR in Asia and Middle East, and the rest of the world to grow at a 12% CAGR. The sports betting market is experiencing fast worldwide growth. Genius is unique positioning that is allowing them to not only rely on one single market, but dominate in a global atmosphere. And like we saw, they are partners of some of the major leagues from not only the United States, not only Europe, but from both of those continents and from even the Asian continents in the world. So huge expected growth rates over the next 5 years from each and every continent in the world. And this company is also well positioned to dominate within the United States, which of course is where we operate within. They have strong partnerships with some of the major leagues such as the NBA, NCAA, NASCAR, and PGA Tour. And out of the 19 possible states, Genius is already live in 10 of them. They've submitted their applications for 2 more and have already begun the pre-application process for the remaining 7. So over the next few years, as more and more states actually make online sports gambling legal, they will continue to apply to be live in those states. And I think as time goes on, this company will be a leader and be fully operational in every legal state within the United States. Revenue share model and business-to-business relationships also have some huge future upside. And of course, you can see partnerships with some of the largest sports betting brands. FanDuel, Caesars Entertainment, DraftKings, and you can see the states that they're already live in. And there's 2 applications right here still waiting to get approved. And overall, this company, I still believe, has some strong future outlook. And now we're going to take a look at their revenue. So one thing I really like to point out is that 60% of their revenue is recurring. 60% of their revenue is coming from contractual minimum obligations and guarantees. That just shows that from a SPAC, usually the revenue is uncertain. We don't know where the revenue is going to come from over the next few years. But with Genius, that's a little different because 60% of their revenue is guaranteed from contracts. And you can see back in 2016, they did around 42 million of revenue, and each and every year, total revenue has been growing, and to finish 2020, we're expecting 149 million, and even during this pandemic, where sporting events all around the world were canceled for months on end. Another important aspect of their business I want to point out is the fact that they're showing that the top 10 customers only make up around 30% of their revenue. That's incredible. Usually with a lot of SPACs, their future growth is reliant on 1 or 2 major contracts with 1 or 2 partners. But this company is very different. The fact that their top 10 customers collectively make up only 30% of their revenue, which just shows that they're not really tied to only one specific name in order for future growth. If they lose one of their top 10 customers, it's not going to end the business, because that would only make up a fraction of their total revenue. Of course, this company is still very young and is extremely high risk. And of course, this is a very high speculative SPAC company. And I want to make the risk very clear. But one thing I want to point out is I think this may be one of the most important factors of the overall business. And I think their revenue breakdown in these two pie charts are very, very important. I think it's very strong for this business. I don't own any shares in this company. I don't know if I ever will own shares in this company. This was a highly requested video and people want to see some new SPACs. And this company has just made that fresh headline of the merger. So I thought I'd deep dive in and I liked what I read in their presentation. And this is the point of the video that I really want to stress the importance. This company, 60% recurring revenue from minimums that are almost guaranteed. Plus their top 10 customers make up only 30% of their revenue generation. Very, very important factors that I think will help them only spear future growth for many years down the road. So a very interesting company. They operate within the sports gambling websites. They provide the data, they collect it from the live events themselves, and they pass that on towards some of the largest sports betting websites and platforms in the world. And when they go public, around 17% of the company's ownership will be available for shareholders to buy on the public market. Overall, the rest and the remaining 83% will be held, some by PIPE investors and the rest by Genius investors already. So it just shows that their initial ownership isn't really just doing this to make a quick buck, because if they would, these ownership would own less of the company and they would sell as much as possible to the public markets just to rake in some cash for personal benefit. But you can see that ownership still believes in the company long term and they are majority owners still in this business. So overall, that was a quick little overview of Genius. This very interesting company, never even heard of them before today. They operate within the sports betting industry. They, of course, are the middleman, like we've already discussed. And if you want to buy into this SPAC, who just announced a merger, you're going to have to take a look at ticker DMYD, which will merge in the first quarter of 2021. So thank you for watching, everyone. I am the Gen Z Investor. Of course, you have to remember to make all your own investment decisions. Do your own research before you invest in any different type on the market. This was a high-risk, high potential reward company that may see some strong future growth. We went over their investor presentation and discussed some key factors of the business. So thank you for watching and see you in tomorrow's video.